play here. I forgot. So for the discussion, the first question is, how does Bisa Butler's work demonstrate or show pattern? And how does Brito create so that his patterns stand out from each other? So they're two pretty simple questions you should be able to answer after you see these videos. I am going to start with Bisa Butler's work, and then I will move into Brito's. I'm going to mute myself so I'm not glitchy, but if everybody could please draw your attention to the board, that'd be awesome.
My name is Bisa Butler, and I am an artist who uses textiles to create quilted artworks. I would say that I was an artist from the very beginning. I was the kid who was always coloring, drawing, scribbling, just like all the other preschoolers. The only difference was that when the other kids ran off to do other things, I still continued to draw. My mother's side is African American, and they're from New Orleans, Louisiana. And my father's side is from Ghana, West Africa. And I was raised in New Jersey. So that combination of like these different cultures all coming together in one household, it influenced me in a way that I was surrounded by art all the time. I was an art major at Howard University, and Howard University had a strong influence on my outlook on art. It informed me because there was a really strong tradition. It was one thing to teach your students how to construct a painting, how to compose an interesting composition, but how do you define an African American culture? And what is it that separates us but makes us stronger and better? My professors were a part of a group called AfriCobra, and most of them came from the AfriCobra tradition. They even went so far as to throw out the paint palette that you would use. It was called the Beaux-Arts, or the European arts tradition, using white to lighten your artwork. That was unacceptable. So we were all like, what is this? Like, that was just a total flipping of ideas. We even had assignments where usually when you start a painting, your canvas is white. You think about a white canvas. We had assignments where the canvas was black, and now you paint on that. So they wanted to sort of flip that and say, literally, this is a colored and black sensibility. And the palette that we used were colors that you would see more in African art or in African fabric. Bright orange, bright yellow, crimson red, intense blue. And that color palette was called the Kool-Aid colors. And the Kool-Aid, yes, they were African colors, but there was always like that acknowledgement that this is an African American thing and this is a new thing. And that affects me a lot to this day. I'm not doing it on purpose, but when you look at my art, you're gonna see, those Kool-Aid colors still. You're gonna see that bright crimson red and vermilion yellow and azul blue. Like, you're gonna see these intense shades. And those are the colors that I'm drawn to this day. One of the founders of AfriCobra was Jeff Donaldson, who was the Dean of Fine Arts at Howard. So he's taking his AfriCobra sensibility and bringing it directly into Fine Arts. As the Dean, you're the one who sets the mission. And part of that mission was like, you have a responsibility to educate your people. You have a responsibility to have your people always be shown in a positive light. I still maintain that I never want my artwork to show my people in a bad light. We are people who've come a long way. We do struggle still. There's still a lot of social ills that are affecting my people. So I want to address that, but I also don't want this paternalistic view like, oh, poor them. I'm not interested in that. I'm more interested in seeing, look what we can do. Now that I'm working full time, I meet a lot of other full time artists, and I see that how much of a responsibility you have as an artist. You are the reflection of our times. So whether you're a writer, a dancer, filmmaker, painter, sculptor, you're reflecting the times that you live in. And after you're gone, that all that is left is that reflection.
So that is Bisa Butler's work, like I said. And she, in my opinion, her work is phenomenal. Textile art is extremely difficult, meaning all fabric. But notice how she brings in cultural patterns, patterns from Africa. Everything is very vibrant and has multiple patterns going on. As a friendly reminder, a pattern is anything that repeats. Patterns are found in nature, they're found in science, they're found in poems, poetry, art. Patterns are found everywhere. The next artist is Romero Britto, and he is a very different style of an artist, and I want you to see how he utilizes pattern.
People tell that my style is pop art. Some people tell whatever. Some people say that it's a Brito style. And I'm just like, I paint, and that's what I do. I let, the critics and I let the experts in the arts to say whatever they want. But in the end of the day, I just paint. I was born in Brazil, and I was 8 years old when I started doing my art. But it was not like, what I do today. I never went to art school. I always loved art, I was always there present in my life, but I never thought that I would become a full-time artist. I definitely did not have, all the means that I have today. So I paint on newspaper, cardboards, whatever I could put my hands on. A long time ago, when I couldn't afford to buy all the brush that I can buy now, I used finger paint. I did finger paint with pastel, or sometimes with, tempera, all kind of stuff. I love the idea of working with a lot of organizations, companies, corporations that they use art to reach out people, from Mattel, Hasbro, Vodka, Evian, Coca-Cola, Disney, to companies across the world in Asia that use so many different ways to reach out people. Always very interesting and ways of expressing myself.
그냥 커피 말고 앗한 커피를 마셔봐. GST25와 로메로 브리토의 앗한 콜라보레이션.
커피가 핫한데?
지금 GST25에서 만나세요.
My color palette is being something that I've been developed for years. First I start using more primary colors, then I start adding pastels, metallics. But I was always very interested, and I was very drawn into vibrant colors. And the yellow that I use and all the blues or the reds, I'm very consistent about those. And some of the colors have been inspired about toys that my son played with when he was growing up. And I have a company that mixes my colors, and then I have this special yellow, special red, the blues and the greens and so forth. I hope when people see my art, they have a big smile on their face and a huge one in their heart. And every time they see over and over again, they remember something special from their lives, and that's basically, for me, it will be a huge accomplishment.
There we go. So that is Brito. His work is very vibrant. He is a painter, like he said. He also creates glass tiles and creates paintings on those. My husband and I actually found one in a gallery in Paris, and so I actually have one of Brito's glass tile paintings in my house, and it's really awesome. It's very vibrant and beautiful. So what I need you to do before you start your next sketch. So I'm going to show you what our next sketch is so you all are aware. But then today, before you leave class, I need everyone to complete the discussion. I will put missings in this evening if they're not done. It takes you seriously 2 minutes. So it's basically free points. Because we're learning about patterns, and Butler and Brito both use patterns in a phenomenal way, our sketch today is all about patterns. It's all about repetition. And what you're going to do is you're going to choose However you want to utilize your page in your sketchbook. So you are going to have a new page. You can break your page up into different sections. You could do circles. I've had students who literally just did circles, and then inside each circle, they did different patterns. I had students who did more of a cultural pattern from their own culture. Zentangle is a really awesome word to Google. In sixth grade, some of us did Zentangles in sixth grade. It's all about creating patterns in a Zen manner, but you'll find a ton of really cool examples. But your goal is to fill your page in a creative way. Do you want to actually draw a picture so you could break up your page in a drawing and add different patterns to that? It could just be free form. Like here are some student examples where they just literally broke their page up into rectangles, circles, diamonds, triangles, however you want. I've also had students, you can see all these different styles. This student, they utilize their different circles with different patterns, but notice they're all colored. They're colored pencil because that's what we're working on this week is colored pencil. And you need patterns for your final project. That's the whole point of this, is to really start thinking about different patterns and different styles of patterns. You want to make sure you have craftsmanship, so that neatness. That is one thing I was finding in that first unit turn in is a lot of people, you could tell where they were like totally flying through and just trying to get stuff done versus adding that craftsmanship and that detail. You want to make sure each patterning is different. Yo-Yo Kasama is another artist who does really crazy patterns. Her stuff is crazy and awesome, but there's a ton of artists who use nothing but pattern in their work. So this is your next sketch in your sketchbook. So you should have colored pencil technique, a colored pencil dessert, and a pattern sketch. So that's 3 sketches that we are doing so far this week. Is this making sense to everybody? This one's pretty simple, and I think this one's really fun because you could literally break it up however you want. Anyone have any questions on the expectations? We all good? All right, you guys can use your time. If you need to finish up the technique pages first, that's great.